by recognizing our common humanity, by treating every child as important, regardless of the color of their skin or the station into which they were born, and to do what's necessary to make opportunity real for every American. By doing that, we express God's grace. For too long, we've been blind to the unique mayhem that gun violence inflicts upon this nation. Sporadically, our eyes are open when 8 of our brothers and sisters are cut down in a church basement, 12 in a movie theater, 26 in an elementary school. But I hope we also see the 30 precious lives cut short by gun violence in this country every single day. The countless more whose lives are forever changed. The survivors crippled. The children traumatized and fearful every day as they walk to school. The husband who will never feel his wife's warm touch. The entire communities whose grief overflows every time they have to watch what happened to them happen to some other place. The vast majority of Americans, the majority of gun owners, want to do something about this. We see that now. And I'm convinced that by acknowledging the pain and loss of others, even as we respect the traditions and ways of life that make up this beloved country, by making the moral choice to change, we express God's grace. Amen. We don't earn grace. We're all sinners. We don't deserve it. But God gives it to us anyway. And we choose how to receive it. It's our decision how to honor it. None of us can or should expect a transformation in race relations overnight. Every time something like this happens, somebody says, we have to have a conversation about race. We talk a lot about race. There's no shortcut. We don't need more talk. None of us should believe that a handful of gun safety measures will prevent every tragedy. It will not. People of goodwill will continue to debate the merits of various policies, as our democracy requires. It's a big, raucous place America is. And there are good people on both sides of these debates. Whatever solutions we find will necessarily be incomplete. But it would be a betrayal of everything Reverend Pinckney stood for, I believe, if we allowed ourselves to slip into a comfortable silence again. Right. Once the eulogies have been delivered, once the TV cameras move on, to go back to business as usual. Right. That's what we so often do. to avoid uncomfortable truths about the prejudice that still infects our society, to settle for symbolic gestures without following up with the hard work of more lasting change. That's how we lose our way again. It would be a refutation of the forgiveness expressed by those families if we merely slipped into old habits, whereby those who disagree with us are not merely wrong but bad, where we shout instead of listen, where we barricade ourselves behind preconceived notions or a well-practiced cynicism. Reverend Pickney once said, across the South, we have a deep appreciation of history. We haven't always had a deep appreciation of each other's history. What is true in the South is true for America. Clem understood that justice grows out of recognition of ourselves in each other. That my liberty depends on you being free too. That history can't be a sword to justify injustice or a shield against progress, but must be a manual for how to avoid repeating the mistakes of the past, how to break the cycle, a roadway toward a better world. He knew that the path of grace involves an open mind, but more importantly, an open heart. That's what I felt this week. An open heart. That more than any particular policy or analysis is what's called upon right now, I think. What a friend of mine, the writer Marilyn Robinson, calls that reservoir of goodness beyond and of another kind, that we are able to do each other in the ordinary cause of things. That reservoir of goodness. If we can find that grace, anything is possible. If we can tap that grace, everything can change. Amazing grace. Amazing grace. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. Found that grace. Cynthia Hurd found that grace. Susie Jackson found that grace. Ethel Lance found that grace. The Pay Middleton doctor found that grace. Alonzo Sanders found that grace. Daniel L. Simmons Sr. found that grace. Sharonda Coleman Singleton found that grace. Myra Thompson found that grace. They've now passed it on to us. May we find ourselves worthy of that precious and extraordinary gift. As long as our lives endure. May grace now lead them home. May God continue to shed his grace on the United States of America.
Go placidly amid the noise and haste, and remember what peace there may be in silence. As far as possible without surrender, be on good terms with all persons. Speak your truth quietly and clearly, and listen to others, even the dull and ignorant. They too have...
I discovered that when you don't have a grip on your purpose in life, when life doesn't have that special meaning and power for you, there is insecurity. But once you find your purpose, once you know why you showed up, and I believe all of us showed up to do something. Everybody here, you showed up to do something. There's something that's going to be done by you and nobody else. That's what you showed up to do. And if you don't do it, we all will be deprived. Now, some of us know what our purpose is, and most of us don't consciously, but subconsciously you know what it is. It's in you. You showed up with that in you. How do birds know how to fly from the north to the south during winter, and no one ever gave them any navigational training or told them which way to go? How do they know how to do that? They showed up with it. I believe we've got that in us. But through life, through the conditioning processes that we go through in life, we lose it. We stop listening to ourselves. We stop trusting ourselves. We begin to develop a limited vision of ourselves. We are born into a certain kind of mindset, and we buy into it. And so most of us go to our graves, ladies and gentlemen, and we never ever discover our true greatness. We never discover the power and use what we have to literally create miracles in life. Now, what's the difference? I want to tell you about two men that I know. Two men that, one I knew, because he's gone now, lost their job.
Well, all the way up to 4%. Oh, that's great. That gives us plenty of time to finish. I hope this movie never loads.
Leave slow downloads behind. 100% fiber optics is here. Get out of the past. Get Fios.